Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Check out these headlines. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Fall of the US dollar and the rise versus the rise of the renminbi out of China. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. 86 days, XRP Las Vegas, April 30th, May 1st. Get your tickets at xrplasvegas.com. Click the link right here, get your ticket and get your room. Also, the discount is built into the link, so you don't need a code. You just click it, use it, and you're good to go. And coming down here, we know we got a lot of people this year. Look, whether we're talking about Paul Barron's Media Desk, Phil and Dom Kwok from Easy A doing a hackathon, XRP Las Vegas is giving away $100,000, maybe even more in prizes. Sign up with Easy A if you're interested as a developer. Eleanor Terrett from Crypto in America. Monerex out of Mexico. They got great news for us. Hugo Filion, co-founder of Flare Networks, is on stage, ladies and gentlemen. Be sitting down with an interview with him soon, too. I can't wait. Sal Gilberti from Tucria. Matt Hogan from Bitwise. We got Amber from Canary Capital. She'll be up here on the board here soon. James Murphy from Ludlow Street Advisors, senatorial candidate and general of the XRP Army. It's John E. Deaton. David Sachs, Emeritus CTO from Ripple. Dr. Chris Brummer from Blueprints got breaking news. Ashish Burla, CEO of Evernorth, formerly of Ripple. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. Ripple, a premier sponsor. The Honorable Christian Carlo, the former CFTC chairman, head of the Digital Dollar Project. Oh my gosh, Zach Hammond from Sigma, and so many more. Don't mess around. Get your tickets, xrplasvegas.com. We are extending the sale on tickets. It is a meaningful discount all across the board. We've deducted $900 GA ticket, now $589, and we made the price adjustment across all the bundles and respectfully to all the different ticket prices. Same adjustment made to all the different tickets until February 14th now, in celebration of the market structure bill, which I thought would be done. But I got to honor my word. I started the sale based on that. I thought it would be done. It is not done. So the sale is not done. February 14th, that's what we're going to do. We'll reevaluate it then. February 14th, get your tickets while they are on sale, ladies and gentlemen. We have a chance to set a breaking record at this event. So don't mess around. You're going to want to see and learn all the things that will be happening on stage and off. Ripple has been granted a full EU electronic money institution license in Luxembourg. Now, we knew this, but I'm highlighting this because of the news we're getting ready to get into here in just a second. Now, with that, it appears that it's been finalized here. Reese Merrick, Senior Executive Officer, Managing Director of Middle East and Africa for Ripple, said this in response. Conditions set out by Luxembourg CSSF fulfilled, which means Ripple has now received its full EU electronic money institution license. I say that is priming the pump right there, ladies and gentlemen. Cassie Craddock, who is the UK CEO, Managing Director in UK and Europe for Ripple, says some more exciting licensing news in Europe. A couple of weeks ago, we heard from Luxembourg CSSF that Ripple had received preliminary approval for its EU electronic money institution EMI license. I can now share that we have fulfilled the conditions set by CSSF, resulting in Ripple being granted its full EU EMI license, a transformative milestone that allows us to scale our mission of providing robust, compliant blockchain infrastructure to clients across the EU. We're now better positioned than ever to help European businesses transition into more efficient, digital-first financial era. Wow, that's big stuff. Again, I highlight this very quickly. Brad Garlinghouse.
Tom, if I may, I think you're demonstrating that we don't have a global consensus about crypto.
What a great statement that is from Brad Garlinghouse. Because how do you quantify getting global consensus? I tell you, you quantify it by getting 70 plus licenses worldwide. That's how you quantify it. That's what consensus looks like in its rarest, in its purest form. Licenses, approvals, acceptance, embrace. That's where it comes from.
Compliant on and off ramps. I mean, a big part of our strategy has also been compliance first. So we've acquired a book of 70 plus licenses around the world.
There you have it right there from the president of Ripple, Monica Long. Shout out to Monica. And now it's up to 75 licenses, global, worldwide. This is global consensus on crypto. And at the same time, as we're waiting for market infrastructure in the United States, which will be further global consensus, right? Breaking, the US dollar index falls to its lowest level since 2022. Dollars in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Rabobank stablecoins are are a geopolitical weapon for the United States. Can we take a look at this? Will somebody take a look at this? Right? Let's take a look at it. Here we go. Rabobank argues dollar stablecoins are becoming a powerful U.S. geopolitical weapon and a tool for what it calls reverse perestroika or perestroika. I don't know. Here's the core mechanism. When a foreign firm wants to hold dollar stablecoin, it first provides its local currency to a U.S. stablecoin issuer. We know how this works. The issuer, let's say example, Tether, converts the foreign currency into dollars, and the relevant central bank then sends those dollars to the U.S. Treasury exchanged for T-bills. The stablecoin is then issued to the foreign firm. The result, dollars flow into the U.S. while the U.S. funds its fiscal deficit with Treasury bills at lower rates. In trade, the effect is even stronger. If a U.S. importer pays an exporter in stablecoins, the importer sends dollars to the stablecoin issuer. The issuer buys a T-bill from the Treasury and issues stablecoins to the exporter. No physical dollars leave the U.S., only tokens do. And foreign holdings of U.S. debt do not increase. Rabobank notes that U.S. can even require that those stablecoins be reinvested back into the U.S. as a part of trade agreements. The bank compares this structure to the Soviet-era trade ruble used within Comcon, which was where settlement units circulated internationally while real monetary control stayed domestic. In effect, Rabobank argues that stablecoins could allow the U.S. to sidestep the Triffin dilemma, the same dilemma that underpins America's exorbitant privilege and Eurodollar power, but also constrains its ability to reindustrialize. Stablecoin export dollars without export dollars, and the changes the global monetary game. We have been talking about this for years, ladies and gentlemen. Introducing digital assets into the financial system has always been about saving the U.S. dollar from the Triffin dilemma. I believe, in complement to that, XRP is designed to be underpinned by a basket of commodities, which can in turn underpin the U.S. dollar for the next 150 years. Voila, you've just avoided the Triffin dilemma. Don't believe it, it's still true. Here's Barry Eichengreen, economist. Did a podcast with David Schwartz a couple years ago, and also serves, on many panels instructing the IMF on current economic conditions. Here's what he said about 5 years ago.
Monetary policy and exchange rate movements go together. When you're at the zero lower bound, monetary policy works even more heavily by moving the exchange rate because it can't move the interest rate. And if it really is the case that you get less stimulus to exports and less oomph from monetary policy generally, I think it's incumbent on all of us to think about what to do instead. So is this project an argument for fiscal policy? That's depressing because fiscal policy is heavily politicized. Fiscal policy works with even longer lags typically than monetary policy. What do we need to do in terms of reforming our fiscal institutions if we're going to have to rely on them more heavily? And the second part of the question would be, what do we have to do to get out of this position of dollar dominance, because it has the undesirable effect of weakening monetary policy, and it will run up sooner or later against the 21st century Triffin dilemma problem.
There you have it. Barry Eichengreen. You not believe me when I say it, but I tell you what, you got reason to worry about it now. I know that was 5 years ago, but the problem hasn't gone away. It's gotten worse. So we were right to focus on it, is the point. Because it was the point. It's the point of Bitcoin. It's the point of stable coins. It's the point of XRP and anything else that's got any serious value and utility. China's President Xi pushes for renminbi to achieve global reserve currency status. Well, there it is. Xi Jinping has called for the renminbi to become a global reserve currency in some of his clearest comments on his ambitions for China's currency as Beijing seeks to play a greater role in the international monetary system. Here it is. There it is, right there. That's it. This is very real. And China's president is pounding the ground for it because the dollar has fell to the weakest level since 2022. They see a window of opportunity to try to capitalize on it. And if the Senate doesn't pass the market structure legislation for crypto to coincide with the Genius Act, we better start brushing up on our Mandarin. It's not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Not a joke. And I've been talking about this for a long time. First ever swell I went to was 2019. Yeah. And when I got the opportunity to ask a question of Dr. Rajan, who spent time working at the IMF, also president of the Reserve Bank of India, I believe, years ago. Yeah, well, listen to this question.
I wanted to ask a question about globalization. If you could talk about the idea of the old concept of the banker coin and a neutral asset being in place of a global reserve status of the dollar, and possibly that being XRP.
You know, what you're asking for is whether there's a possibility of a global currency, and to some extent that's what Libra was trying to do. And as I understand it, that's different from what XRP is trying to do. And the reason is as follows. As soon as you go to maintaining the value, right, some kind of stable coin, a whole set of regulatory concerns get triggered. I have to make sure that there is corresponding financial or real assets backing this notional value that they seek to maintain.
And there you have it. And that conversation has done nothing but intensify over the years because now it's getting more real. And look who else is calling it. Breaking. Luke Judges. Luke Judges, middle management at a bank called Ripple, baby. Partner success, and he's highlighting this over the same article, President Xi. Partner success lead LJ calls for XRP to become a global reserve currency. And I certainly believe it to be a bridge, a global bridge currency. And we can't get it to work unless we get it like French Hill says it, Representative French Hill.
Act with digital assets, so it's a very important bill. You cannot pass a bill just for dollar-backed stable coins like the Genius Act that President Trump signed into law last year without market structure.
Bingo.
It's like passing a bill authorizing cell phones, but there's no cell towers.
There it is. It's literally that simple. And here's where we are. And the White House meets today at 1 p.m. with banks and crypto leaders to resolve the disagreements over stalled crypto legislation, which is really based around yield and rewards on digital dollars. And as I have said from the beginning, I believe they will get this figured out because it's really about getting all the congressmen and senators to understand one simple thing. This is about saving the US dollar. This isn't about crypto. And it affects every senator just like it affects every citizen. You get them to understand that, and this is done today. That's where we're at here. You don't get this done, and as I said, you better get your Cliff Notebook, start brushing up on how to speak Mandarin. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.